Wall shares to Gat, who wants to share it off to Emma King, who had the arm length required to take it. Give it back to Gat, who wants to take on Jess Allen. Brazen play. Randall trapped behind Prowse with the push.
Adelaide defensively are setting up really well behind the footy now. We heard Sarah Ollie earlier say how important it was going to be to protect that space out the back.
The perfect scene setup for what might be to come across the rest of this weekend and the next month of the AFLW final series at quarter time in the first qualifying final. North Melbourne 2-1-13, the Adelaide Crows 2 straight 12.
To the NAB AFLW Finals Series. North Melbourne leading Adelaide by 1 point at IKON Park. A late goal to Kate Shearlaw
And a little bit of a controversial call from an umpire puts the North Melbourne Kangaroos 1 point ahead of Adelaide. It's been a hot old contest out there at IKON Park. Just what we expect from finals footy. Ellie, it's everything we could have wanted to kick this November off.
It is. It was a hot start for North Melbourne to start off with, and then Adelaide got some real good territory throughout the middle of the game, and obviously that late goal there to North Melbourne. But it's this goal here, Half, that you want to have a good look at. They came through a great team play from their tackle pressure.
Yeah, Neve Kelly gets the tackle there, then changes the lane, opens the ground up. Now it's a little bit of a risk 50-50, but from there, you see all the open side players for Adelaide choose not to necessarily use it on this occasion, and perhaps get a bit lucky with the drop mark the Test probably should have taken. But from then they ran at the Kangaroos' defence. They've got so many numbers behind the ball. You've got to run at them and draw them out, which is what we saw here. And they're able to leapfrog down the field with the handball chain. Gould ends up with the goal. So it was a really good blueprint, I reckon, of what Adelaide needs to do. Get the ball game into open space rather than try and come back with the numbers.
What about North?
A lot of handballs from North. They've done a good job. A lot of handballs from contests. They swarm the contest with so many numbers that their handball counts like 37. The preliminary final last year, they had 79 for the game, 37 for the quarter. So that's clearly a method to try and get out of the congestion by hand and then try and run at the Crows' defence.
And it's that cleanliness too for them. We haven't probably seen them as clean as what they have been throughout the course of the season, so something to work on in this second term, Liz.
3 quarters to go as one of these teams looks to book its spot in an AFLW preliminary final. Of course, we'll have all of your magnificent analysis for us at halftime. We'll see what plays out here in the second term. Let's get back to IKON.
Lights starting to take full effect here at IKON Park. Jess Allen and Kim Rennie, the ruck duties for their respective teams to start term 2. Rushing through Mia King, can't find a way out. Thanks to Maddie Newman's hand and then tackle. And that's been the theme of the Crows. First quarter, 26 tackles to 16. Gould brought it down. Hatchard's kick smothered. Ponta, the magician, gets the wand out. It skids to Kelly, who kicks it along the ground to Marinoff. Dabbed it back towards Randall. Bruton takes ground, presenting as Randall, paddling. That's Talia Randall, Zoe Prowse, Jess Allen to sister Sarah, and now to the outside for Goodwin, who had Gap bearing down. It comes wider for Kelly. Sarah Allen to Goodwin, trapped on the right, sneaking into the pockets. Charlton had a look too. Hatchard with the pressure on Talia Randall, who's come behind the ball and through the sequence of play.
Adelaide's pressure is always a great feature of their game, but you can see they've certainly upped the hunt and the intensity around the footy. They've identified how dominant North can be when they are given that outside run, so they're trying to take that away from the Kangaroos early.
Marinoff's clearing kick was higher than it was long. Prowse slices through, receives back from Marinoff. Crows go deep again. Birch. He paid the mark as Gould slipped. Ferguson has played 99% game time this season. Showed plenty of it. Ponta read it beautifully in flight. And they're the little moments you need in a final.
And that's perfect, what we call teasing distance. So you give the option there, you let North think they can have that kick. Then as the kick goes, you close the space down and get the ball either as a turnover or get it out and get a stoppage inside forward 50.
Gould with forward line ruck duties. Marinoff was second in the queue. Hatchard's got the requisite power to put this deep for Randall, who couldn't mark. Birch to Gat. North still under some serious pressure. Gat finds a way out by Bruton. So what can North assemble down the line? Prowse will leave her player. Cannon into Shannon, open it up for Charlton. Munyard hasn't got much room to work in. That was pinpoint for Chelsea Randall, rushing towards her through the leading lane. It just looked like they've completely cut the shackles, the Crows. And it's really testing the minor premiers. Randall was cueing Munyard to be the lead. Marinoff just took it. Feeds Goodwin, who's pointed deep by Chelsea Randall. To Allroos, Mia King, where's one? Randall, Hatchard, it's Rennie, sorry, and it's out. And the Crows have reassumed the dominance that we saw in the middle period of that first quarter.
They have. They're taking all the territory early in their second term. 4 inside 50s to 0. They're just owning that time in forward half here.
Work on the bench for Alice O'Loughlin, a career high 4 goals against the Suns last week. Just 1 touch in the qualifying final so far. Craven not paid the mark. Chelsea Randall the tackle.
They're also winning clearance at North this year, number 1 in the competition for clearances.
Riddell provides one there for Garner, but it's scrubby. Ball got into the back of Kelly. Marinoff's kick smothered. Shea presents. Riddell to Shannon. There's not much on the kick of any real meaning. Out of bounds on the full, and the Crows can reload again.
Ebony Marinoff now up to 15 disposals, 6 tackles, 3 clearances, putting together a game and a half already.
Nearly halfway to her seasonal average of 31. It would be too big for the Randall-Birch contest, and if North got another moat they need to slip into for 5 minutes here.
Well, they're doing that. They're trying to get those uncontested marks, but they're not quite hitting their kicks as low and flat as they should be, which is inviting the Adelaide pressure. We know how hot that is tonight.
It's on show again as they quickly lock things down and create yet another forward 50 stoppage. Time in forward half is a landslide in the second quarter to the visitors. Krause did the bodywork on Talia Randall. Mueller to Goodwin. What terrific defensive shape the Crows have got. Can they penetrate off the back of it? Munyard's kicked some brilliant goals this season. Can't add another one there.
And this is where Adelaide defensively are just set up so strongly behind the ball. You've got your eyes on the defenders now. They're just shuffling, they're communicating, they're working in waves.
And because North love getting so many numbers back in their D50, when they kick it out like opportunities like this, there's Crows players just absolutely everywhere.
Mia King to Gat, high, wide, it pitches. Newman tried to usher it all the way to the line, and in the end, North got a hand in. Not quite the consequences of the Zoe Prowse call earlier, but beneficial for North. They haven't had the ball in this part of the ground for the best part of 5 minutes.
I love that from Vicky Wall. She thinks if it's not their free kick, it must be ours. No, Vicky, that's a stoppage now. That was gold.
Aussie rules, not Irish rules. Speaking of, Newman to Kelly. Gould, again, dealing with multiple roos. Hand in from O'Shea. Munyard against Shannon, who goes to ground. Randall, Marinoff. Craven careful not to infringe. It nearly comes to Chapman instead. It's Garner.
Yeah, that was a throw paid just prior to Jazzy Garner gaining possession. But Nige, Adelaide need to capitalise here. They've had 7 inside 50. This will be their 8th to 0.
Ponta got up, but couldn't get down with it. Nia King. In front, Mueller. Flying through Eddie. And at the moment we're seeing all those creative North forwards having to come up so high to get involved.
Still crumbing the ball really well though. Eddie hit that at pace and then earned herself the free kick. This is the best look they've had all quarter.
Goodwin to the back of O'Loughlin. Can this be the possession that starts to get her involved in the qualifying final?
Well, they've got to treat this like gold now. They haven't had any possession in their forward half. They need to maintain it.
King was trapped behind Bedell. It'll be Tripodi versus Kelly. Flicked out to Craven. Neve nails the tackle on Tess. A tackling masterclass from Matthew Clark's team. They've landed so many.
And that one paid, sorry, Nige, because there was no genuine attempt to get the ball out. So once that tackle was laid, Tess Craven just sort of accepted it, didn't try and will the ball forward at all, so it's holding the ball.
Thompson wide for Ponta. Well, the shape of this game, the scoreboard's wrong. Adelaide should be in front. Can they put themselves in front? Gould the free. Chelsea Randall will keep moving. Boot deep, 3-on-1 against for Gat. Has to get this out through or lock it down. An even better result is a free kick against Hatchard for raking it in.
Lucky to get away with that one. It was an outnumber in the goal square in the favour of the Adelaide Crows, and they just scrapped and clawed for everything they could there, North. But Adelaide, one take the player out, the other kick the goal.
And to North Melbourne's credit here, Nige, I mean, Adelaide, 8 inside 50s to 0 in this quarter, 18-5 across the game so far, but they haven't conceded a goal in this second term.
Amy Smith back on for North. Customan into the game for the Crows.
So far in this term, North have not had one single disposal in their forward half.
Craven's kick was through the fingertips of O'Loughlin. Goodwin on the half volley to Sarah Allen, who pivots. Heads for Charlton versus Ferguson. Charlton flung it out. It comes back through her legs. Garner again in the right spot to receive and create. Wright's kick, though, was audacious. Neve Kelly takes, stops, props, runs. Craven. They keep greeting out all these North Melbourne players who should be at the other end of the ground, but they have to get involved and help in North ball movement. Ponta again with that teasing distance you mentioned, Kate. It should generate a turnover here. Over the top of her went O'Shea.
So we just saw with that kick there from Craven, she had the easy option next to her, and she's tried to bite off the tougher kick, which is the 45. You have to take the easy to then open up the 45. At the moment, North are feeling this pressure from the Adelaide Crows, therefore making these decisions that they think have to be the all or nothing, when really they could be hitting the easy like they've done all season and work the ball up, but they're feeling the pinch, to Adelaide's credit.
The paint's still fresh on that new Crows logo, and it was peppered all over those last 10 inside 50s. Emma King brings it to the front. Hatchard stripped by a powerful Wall.
That was a great tackle by Wall, and sometimes it's these little moments, these individual, efforts of brilliance that can really lift a side.
North get a chance to equalise in front of the ball. Bruton with a win. Randall must make the contest and did, but Tonham was one of the loose Crows. Feeds Custerman. Wright flying over the top. Excellent play, Munyard. Against Wright now. Can win the day. Take ground. Bodied. O'Shea. Supporting around the back. How clever was that from Tia Charlton?
Well, 2 one-on-one opportunities. Well, it was a 3-on-1 to Randall, and then on the other hand, Munyard to bring that ball to ground. We've seen 2 really good contests, both from each team there.
A sleight of hand from Tia Charlton as Tripodi tackles Hatchard. So, if you're North, it's not exactly working, but you haven't copped any mortal wounds yet.
No, exactly right, and that's where defensively they have held up, given how under pressure they've been in this second term, but they just need a little bit more time in possession. We know that Adelaide's pressure is hot. They are giving them 0 time and space, so if they can take that aspect of the game out of it, try and get some uncontested marks happening and just kick the ball around and try and take that out of Adelaide's game, then that'll go a long way.
Marinoff with 3 efforts in that piece of play. It eventually goes unrewarded as Mueller's accosted by Jenna Bruton, who's 29 today, one of 3 Bulldogs premiership players in North's lineup tonight.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Ab. So the way to invite pressure, ball in contest.
Yeah.
The way to eliminate it, get some time with the footy, make it an uncontested game. Whether you go backwards, you go sideways, just possess the ball a little bit so that your opposition can't get in your face, can't lay tackles, can't win contested possession.
Jazz Garner having a break for North. 16 possessions equal of Ebony Marinoff. Jess Allen tries to break it out. Hatchard. The Crows again collapse in number on Tess Craven. There is Jazz Garner having a break. Top 7 in the league this season for possessions, tackles, clearances and inside 50s. Craven gets it back from Bresnahan, has to work her way out of the phone booth and could. Smith went without it. Time to recover, but a fumble again was costly. Hatchard picks it up. Newman missed Martin. Goes to ground. Against Mia King. Rochelle in again. What a terrific player she is to watch.
Seen so many uncharacteristic fumbles so far in this game from the Kangaroos, and that is all credit to Adelaide and the pressure that they are putting on the ball carrier.
Custerman will one from Sheila on the blind side. 3 on 2 for the Crows in this part of the ground. Liddell was cut down as she kicked. Emma King over the top of Sarah Allen. And the Crows, with their 11 premiership players, have shown up tonight. They might not have found themselves in front, but if you are marking the game almost on a boxing scorecard rather than a scoreboard, they've looked the better. They've had the more sustainable method, but the challenge is 19 inside 50s to 6. You shouldn't be 1 point down. Tarleton won't find a way out as Garner's back into the action.
Yeah, and Nige, both coaches will go in thinking, okay, we had the run of it, we were able to get it on our terms, the score will come, and then on the other hand, North, okay, we're a point ahead, but we had none of the ball in our forward half.
Hatchard off the side of the boot. Right. You can almost read her mind that she wants the line. Martin, 1 yard's out of play and won't be an option for her. So this is uncharted territory for North, who are the number 2 inside 50 differential team this season, plus 11.5 per game. They're minus 13. It's going to take something from them. They've absorbed so much pressure, particularly in this second quarter. Jess Allen went to go double-handed over the head. Eventually it's out through 2 o'clock, but Mia King's there. Gatt to Smith. North have barely had a clean possession in the quarter. Sheila can't right that wrong. Newman, Sarah Allen. Another entry for the Crows beckons. Hatchard went body on body with King. In comes Gould to Thompson. Pressure from Smith. Pressure everywhere. Bruton flings it out. But again, the Crows intervene. Smith having some important touches, but again was indecisive and didn't like the look forward. That invites the Crows pressure and possession. Mueller. Smith again. Newman. Corner crisis. Mueller gets it out. Marinoff. Scrubby ball. Clasped by Martin. Martin clasped by Birch. And this is engrossing. It's the middle part of the movie. You're not sure who's the villain, who's the hero. It's an enticing game of footy. As the mark's taken by Bresnahan to O'Shea, who goes for a run, a step, but there's Taylor coming, and it's not Chelsea Randall.
Wow.
Rushes it back. Is this the Crows' moment? Goal! Yes!
Chelsea Randall, take a bow. I mean, that is Adelaide's intensity. They're just coming out. Let's take another look at it. Just with so much hunger, so much hunt. And then her ability to recognise that they were on. Caitlin Gould was on if she was able to just take possession of the ball and play on. Brilliant work by the ex-skipper.
The state of the second quarter rides on this kick. Gould goals, 2 for the night. Chelsea Randall, in her 72nd game, you can cue so many moments across her career, but even this season, the goal right on the eve of a quarter break to beat St Kilda. She's had so many moments. That was another.
Well, finally, some reward for effort. Adelaide 10 inside 50s, and they finally break through for a goal. But have a look at this from Chelsea Randall. Just eyes for the footy, eyes for the player, but then just gains possession of the ball, plays on. Identified that Caitlin Gould was set up beautifully to go back and slot her second. But Kate, that is why Chelsea Randall is one of the most respected players in the game.
It is, but the reason she had the chance to look back inside Erica O'Shea is because Zoe Prowse had worked so hard on the open side, so Erica O'Shea had no options, so she had to look back inside, which bought Chelsea Randall the time to run her down. But if you're not putting in the hard yards like Randall was, you don't get anywhere near her anyway.
One could quickly become 2 with the seconds ticking. Stevie Lee Thompson puts it inside 50. Shannon after it, nearly lost her footing. Hatchard sensing an opportunity. Crows need a mark. Martin won't provide it. 16 and a half minutes it took for the Crows to breach North, who'd stood up defensively. They've had their moments in defence. Taylor Gatt outpointing 3 players at one stage to deny Adelaide. But the Crows will go into halftime in front.
A tight contest at IKON Park to kick off the NAB AFLW Finals Series. Adelaide with a late surge and a late goal to lead the Roos at the main break by 5 points. Both teams going in to halftime. Plenty to play for, of course. A preliminary final spot up for grabs, and for the loser, a meeting with either Fremantle or Essendon. The next instalment is...
There we go, folks. It is half-time here at IKON Park in the first qualifying final. And, of course, Adelaide. This was a little bit unexpected. Adelaide 3 goals straight, 18, leading North Melbourne 2-1-13. Well, this is about the only time. Well, this is definitely the one time I've seen North Melbourne under this much pressure. Of course, they came out of the blocks, kicked the first goal. Adelaide responded. North Melbourne responded again. And then, of course, late in that second term, just before half-time, Adelaide got their third goal. There we go, 3 goals, two goals, 1. Tell you what, this is going to be a cracker of a second half coming up, folks. Don't go anywhere. Let's just have a little bit of a look at the player stats there. Let's go and have a look at your favourite player. Who is leading disposal getter on the ground? Of course, well, there's 2 players there, 1 from each side, and of course Ash Riddell there for North Melbourne. Tell you what, she's a great player. She always does what she's asked for out on the ground, and you know she gives her all. No surprise to see her top of the table. 18 disposals, 8 kicks, 10 handballs, 5 tackles, and of course Ebony Marinoff. Well, same can be said for her from the Adelaide Crows. She's having a great game. 18 disposals, also 10 kicks, 8 handballs, 1 mark, 9 tackles. She's doing it fantastic out there this evening. Alyssa, shout out Brisbane Lions 2024. Come on, Adelaide. Mr. T, welcome in. G'day, sir. Hope you're having a fantastic day over there beachside. Tineen Bim Bim, my super manager. Mega love, shout out, Guapa. Thanks for coming in. Don't forget, folks, if you want to quickly pop over and say hello to my manager, she's doing a live now, making some food. If you want to do that on the break, you certainly can. There's the link. Just jump across, say hello, say I sent you. All be good. All right, let's go down the line. Thanks, Danny, for popping in there. I've got you. I'm watching you, BG. But my other phone keeps losing connection. Can you believe it? There we go. Talia Gatt there on 11. Chelsea Randall on 11 also. Mia King always in and amongst it. She's on 11. Let's go down. Zoe Prowse there with 7 for the Crows, of course. Anne Hatchard, a little bit quiet. First half, she's only had the 6 disposals, 4 kicks, 6 handballs. She's had a mark and 3 tackles, though. So doing quite well. Jessica Ellen there, just the 5 disposals there for Adelaide, but she's had, I think that's 16 hit-outs as the ruck girl there today, so she's doing well. Of course, against Emma King and Kim Rennie, both with 11 hit-outs there for the 2 girls there. All right, let's toddle back up to the top. Let's go and have a look and see who are the goal scorers in today's match so far. And, of course, there's only one multiple goal scorer on the ground. That's Caitlin Gould there for the Adelaide Crows. She's kicked 2. And, of course, Danielle Ponta is the other single goal scorer. Kate Sherlaw, Talia Randall, singles for the Kangaroos. We might come back and have a look at the team stats in just a moment. Let's head back down to the commentators and hear some of their thoughts on the opening half.
Over the Roos, they'll be pleased with that.
Oh, absolutely, they will be. And it stemmed from their tackle pressure. It was elite around the ground, as we can see here. The pressure on the ball carriers for North Melbourne, it was exceptional throughout that second term and it made it really hard for North Melbourne to get some forward half footy in that second quarter.
Yeah, no time and space at all, was there, for the Kangas?
Exactly right. They were very, very tight on them. Let's take a look at the scores here. Of course, it was Talia Randall with one, Kate Sheelaw with one late in that first quarter. We'll get to that one. Both, obviously, huge accumulators of the footy, Ellie. So it's tight at the top there and tight on the scoreboard, as we say as well. Let's check out our halftime highlights. Thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Half, take us through this. What did you like?
Well, I love the fact that Adelaide so much of the footy. We talked about their opportunities forward of the ball before the game, and obviously the great start for the Kangaroos from that first centre bounce effectively to open the scoring. But it's been Adelaide's ability to get the ball inside forward 50, Ellie, which is causing absolute mayhem for the Kangaroos' defence. 21-6 at half-time, plus 15 is quite extraordinary. And their ball movement, their pressure, which you talked about, has been scintillating.
Oh, it really has been, and it stemmed from moments like this, the pressure around the ball carrier, the team play, the decision-making that they're making when they are going inside 50, when it's paying off for them, that's when they're able to convert and get the ball through the big six, which is essentially what you want to be able to do more and more often, and they were able to do on this occasion through the likes of Gould and again in the second term as well, and that stems through the pressure from Chelsea Randall through the middle of the ground. And it's hard when the game's on the line like this, and in these moments in finals footy, is pressure throughout it.
And not just for the players, the umpires as well. You see that free kick there given against Zoe Prowse for deliberately taking the ball over the line. I'm not necessarily sure that was the right decision, but it helped the Kangas get their second goal of the game. But what about this moment late in the second term? Chelsea Randall has been doing great things for the Crows since day one. Massive tackle off the ball, and then gets up and plays on quickly. 4-on-1 against Caitlin Gould there, but got to the back. And that was the only goal for the quarter, despite the dominance that Adelaide had.
And I think that shows the game awareness and game sense that Chelsea Randall has. She's one of the most experienced players in the competition. And for her awareness, not only to take that tackle, but to know that Gould was out the back on her own and take the game on. I mean, exceptional play by her. The end that Gould kicked that goal at, of course, was where we saw the majority of the play for that quarter too, wasn't it? I mean, time in forward half there for the Crows as well. They just had all of the action up forward. Well, they did. I mean, all of that footy, I mean, as we have a look at it there, 76% time in forward half in that second quarter. And, I mean, one credit for North Melbourne there is that they were only able to concede one goal in the end, so they're only 5 points behind, I mean, which makes it tough. So some things like their decision-making going inside 50 half is something that Adelaide need to work on.
Yeah, so the ball movement up the ground's been really good, Adelaide, but going inside forward 50, particularly through that second term, it was a bit all over the shop. You see, this one's under a bit of pressure, so you give that an out. But look at the numbers of the Kangaroos. Line of goal. So the ball, line to goal, that's where they put all their numbers. Adelaide couldn't get the ball offline or find any targets inside forward 50. Kick to a pack again, the Kangaroos clear. This happened time and time again. Another one just inside the arc, kick long. It's a 2-on-1 in actually advantage of the Crows there, but couldn't find a mark, couldn't work together to get the mark. Another one, Campbell comes in, kicking outside 50 here. Kicks to the middle, but it's all Kangaroos. So if they can sort that out, Matt Clark has a real opportunity to blow this game open.
Oh, they can. They've had 21 inside 50s and are only able to take 4 marks. So for all that dominance, they haven't been able to settle it and have some set shots in front of goal laws.
We know in finals footy, you've got to take your opportunities, don't you? So hopefully they won't rue those lost ones. Let's get out to IKON Park. Jess Webster is out there at the ground in the thick of the action. There's a pretty big North contingent in the crowd. Jess, how are they seeing it?
Yeah, absolutely, Loz. A few thousand fans have packed in here at IKON Park. Majority of them are North Melbourne fans. Behind me in the Legend stand, and to my left there's this really small pocket of Adelaide Crows fans here cheering their side on, but it definitely is pro North Melbourne. You can feel the tension and the intensity in the stands as well as on the field. As you mentioned, high pressure first half of footy. The tackling has been elite out there today, but this crowd is restless. They're a bit nervous. They know what's on the line tonight. Of course, North Melbourne, they've been so dominant this year, as we've mentioned. They've won the minor premiership for the first time. They're a half away from playing in a prelim final and really setting themselves up for another tilt at a grand final, but find themselves behind against this Adelaide Crows outfit who, as we mentioned, are so experienced, and you can tell they just take their game to another level when it comes to finals footy. So it's all set up here at halftime. There are no injury concerns to either sides, which is good news as we get set for the second half. And as for the conditions, the sun is setting. It's absolutely a beautiful atmosphere here at IKON Park. Getting a little chilly for my liking, but otherwise sensational conditions, and we've got a massive second half to come, Loz.
A magnificent night out there for you, Jess. We'll catch up with you. Of course, grand final week kicks off with the W Awards on November 25. We've got 2 of the hot hopes in action at IKON Park tonight. Who will take out all of the awards, and of course the illustrious All-Australian team. It's all happening at Crown Palladium November 25 right here on Fox.
All right, so while they go to a break, folks, let's head back. Let's have a little bit of a look at the team stats there. Tell you what, she's a tight old game, this one today. And it's a struggle. There's good pressure by both sides. And as you can see there, it's all pretty even on the disposal count there for both sides. Adelaide Crows, 130, 128 to North Melbourne, just by the 2. And the kicks, have a look at the kicks. There's only 3 kicks in it and 1 handball in it. She's a pretty even duel here today. But the inside 50s, have a look at that. That's really staggering to see. North Melbourne have only been inside 50 6 times in the opening half for 3 scoring shots. Now, if we have a look at North Melbourne there, 6 times inside 50s for their, for the opening half. You double that, that's about 12. Their season's average over here is 37.4. So they should be on about 19. So they are well and truly under, where Adelaide Crows inside 50 21 times for their 3 scoring shots. Look, both teams have scored 3 times. The thing is, I mean, Adelaide has put the goals on the board, which is why they're 5 points up. But while it's living in Adelaide's forward 50, North Melbourne can't score. So that is also very good for the Adelaide supporters out there, that Adelaide just aren't letting North Melbourne get that free-flowing run down into their forward 50 and giving their forwards an opportunity to put the score on the board. But 21 inside 50s, fantastic. They're going above season's average at the moment, Adelaide, so they're going really well. Disposal efficiency around the ground, 58-61, a little bit low. Look, I think it's just the pressure. The pressure that both sides are being put on. The efficiency inside 50s, well, we don't really want to take much notice of that at the moment because North Melbourne only been inside, 6 times for 3 scoring shots. That's why there's a high. And, of course, Adelaide haven't really scored much out of the inside 50s. But as I said before, if it's down one team's forward 50, the other team can't score, can't get it back down there. So Adelaide doing a fantastic job. Their forward pressure has been really good. Free kick count for this evening so far, 11-8, plus 3 there to the Adelaide Crows. Tell you what, she's a beautiful night down there at IKON Park. 12 degrees Celsius. Perfect night for football down there. The hit-outs, North Melbourne there leading the way, plus 5. But the clearances, Adelaide lead by 1. And also in the centre clearances, they lead by 1. Stoppage clearances, all tied up around the ground there. 13 apiece. Contested possessions. I tell you what, folks, you can't get much closer than this game. 69 contested possessions each, uncontested 62-61, turnovers 34-33. Tell you what, this is like a flip of the coin game. Have a look at the marks, 17-16, only 1 the difference there. Just the 2 inside 50 differences in the marks, 2-4 Adelaide's way. Same with the contested marks, Adelaide plus 2 in that department there. We have a look at their defensive tackles there, both teams tackling well, 35-44. Adelaide 7-1, of course, has been down their forward line. So much more. All right, let's take us back down to the ground. We are only just a couple of minutes away, I think, before the bounce of the ball to the second half. In the first qualifying final here, where it's Adelaide Crows, 3 goals straight, 18, leading, well, what you would think would be the hot favourites, North Melbourne, 2-1-13. Can North Melbourne find a way to get down to their forward 50, put the score on the board, put the pressure back on Adelaide, or can Adelaide continue the fantastic job they're doing out there in the first half? We'll see, folks. Stick around. Third quarter is about to come up.
A bit of injury concern with that quad. She's had it treated a couple of times, so something for North Melbourne to get her into the game a little bit more with half.
Yeah, important players in the second half. They've got to get back into it, but they need time and space. Adelaide's pressure's been enormous, on track for 20% above their average for tackles for the year. So it's been a clear focus for them. Kangas have to find a way around it.
Yeah, they've been undefeated this season, of course. Split the points with Geelong with a draw in round 2, so we know Darren Crocker would have had plenty to say to rev the girls up at half-time. Let's get there for the second half.
As Garner looking to turn things around for the home team. Sheila slides in, set the first one up of the night for Randall. We'll try and do similar here. Puts it into the pocket for Talia. Craven, tackled by Goodwin. And North get an early look.
Yeah, as I say, at halftime there would have been some tough conversations, there's no doubt about it, but they'll be happy with the fact that they haven't conceded many goals for the amount of dominance that Adelaide have had in that first half.
They had one inside 50 in the second quarter. They've got one in the opening 30 seconds of the third. Can they convert and get back in front? Ponta starting in the midfield. Randall, after her inspirational moment late in term 2, Marinoff. Tricky one. Even Rennie couldn't read it. Riddell with that magnetic relationship with the footy to Craven. Randall again thrusting herself at it. It comes out. Bruton's moment. Gat is forward. Couldn't mark. And a moment goes begging for the Roos.
And that was a complete defensive breakdown as well from Adelaide. There were 2 North Melbourne players goal side. Just couldn't take that mark. Kate Sheila was also in the goal square. You can be rest assured that if they get the opportunities that Adelaide got in the second term or anywhere near it, they will score more than 1 goal in this game.
Jenna Bruton has both of North Melbourne's behinds tonight. Randall extricates the kick.
Nigel, I think the intensity then as well of Gat to just get to the fall of the ball, that wasn't there. And this is something that we're not used to seeing with North Melbourne. Adelaide are just much more intense. North Melbourne just seem a little bit lost at the moment.
Garner, Shearlaw went without it, but might create something for Wall, who picks it up, gets it off to Randall for her second. It's across the face. It's still alive. Shearlaw fans it to Craven, who has to wear the Bedell tackle. To halftime, North had led this game for 25 minutes. The Crows just 7. And had the advantage since Caitlin Gould's second of the night. Kelly kicks it out. Charlton wide for Newman, and the Crows are finding a way out. Munyard got to the back on Ferguson. They both clinch. In comes Shannon, but tapped it into Munyard's leg. Lost the boot, had an air swing. Not a box left to tick. Gat inboard. Bresnahan's got Crows and a loose boot to deal with. Gat to Garner. Bounces off Randall. Audaciously holds the footy in one hand. Shannon under pressure. Randall. Goodwin. Came back to her, and she is under siege.
I've seen Jazz Garner do a lot of things that not many other players can, and I just saw another one. Not many bounce off a Chelsea Randall tackle. She just bounced up, took the tackle, and then ran on with it.
There's a sense that Jazz Garner's going to put the Roos on her back in the third quarter. And Shearlaw flew, and Bedell read it best. Considering a change of lanes, slides around Shearlaw. Went for Gould versus Ferguson, who put the tackle on Marinoff. Sweeping in is Tripodi. Rennie, casual, careful to Garner. Plays on and will give it back. Goodwin missed the mark. Here's Craven's moment. Kicks it horizontally. Goodwin lowers the centre of gravity in the core and pushes Craven out of the way. Runs free of Wall. But North with the numbers down the line, a la the Crows' defensive shape in the second.
Both teams just need to take a minute here in this third term. They've got the positioning, they've got the marks, and they're both just playing on frantically.
Garner missed Shearlaw. Well, Shearlaw missed Garner's kick, sorry. Bedell against Eddie. Eddie with the tackle and the win back. Had the handball option of Shearlaw. Now the 1-2. Bella Eddie can steady. And been a long time coming. Kate Shearlaw with the goal from the Zoe Prowse rush behind free kick at the 18.25 minute mark of the second quarter. North had that 1 point advantage that they clung onto right throughout the second quarter. They're back in front now.
You feel like in this game it's going to be North Smalls. The Talls are, yes, they're going to be involved, but you feel like they're probably not going to have a clean run and jump at the footy because of how Adelaide is setting up and having 2 to 1 go to them at all times. But it's the smalls, it's Eddie, it's O'Loughlin, it's the mids pushing forward and getting to the feet of those talls that you feel like can do the real damage here. And it was the hand in from Sheila. Eddie, as you said, Nige, just took her time, steadied, straightened up and dropped the ball through the middle of the goals.
Lead change for as Mi King tried to go through the front. Kelly kicks it nearly the length of the square. O'Shea was back with the flight. Munyon after her. And the tackle was good enough. Former dog puts Adelaide into attack. Good again. Brings it to ground. Randall stays upright. Chelsea Randall. Unbelievable. In a game of moments, it's a career of moments. Chelsea Randall getting it done in all 3 zones of the ground in any manner possible.
Just doing the job of any good key forward, just creating a contest, bringing the ball to ground. But Chelsea Randall just so strong through the hips, just kept her feet, managed to swivel and shake and kick that one through. She is putting together some kind of game now, up to 15 disposals in her first major for the evening.
6 for the season for Chelsea Randall. Her sheer force of will is lighting the torch for Adelaide. Garner trying to do similar for North. King pushes Bedell out of the way. Prowse, Wall coughs it up for Eddie, who got it out for O'Loughlin, who wants to get a boot at it, but it was a karate kick without any contact. Sarah Ollie, injuries in the Crows camp.
Some good news when it comes to the Crows. Taylor Levy, she's had her ankle re-taped, but she should be good to go back on, Nige.
Thanks, Sarah. Ponta somehow got it out. Bedell, not used to seeing her fumble, but made good of it for Custerman, who manufactured a kick. Martin hanging on to the taller right.
Right, holding some really nice positioning when they've gone inside 50, just setting up beautifully and using her body well.
It wasn't to the right side for King, and that allowed Hatchard to slide back and help Bedell with the mark. Low down for Prowse, not liking that goal square tonight. Gives it off, Hatchard. King spins, kicks. It would have been a miracle.
This game has certainly gone up another level, though, Nige, and North Melbourne have just upped the ante. Adelaide certainly don't have that same amount of time to dispose of the ball correctly. They're hot, they're in the face of Adelaide, and they're creating mistakes like we just saw there from Anne Hatchard.
Bedell, horrible ball. Prowse, it looked high. That's what the North fans want. They are incensed.
And it just shows exactly what we're talking about in the first half. North being fumbly. Now Adelaide, some skill errors. It's just what pressure from the opposition and also finals pressure, what it does to you.
Inside 50, 7-1 for the quarter to North. Shearlaw to the square. Randall brings it down. The cavalry arrive. Eddie has got 2 in the third. And it was a question of who rather than when out of Eddie, Craven or O'Loughlin to perhaps provide some scoring punch amongst North's creative smalls. And it's been Bella Eddie to the fore in the opening 9 minutes of the third.
You mentioned earlier in this third term that it was going to be North Melbourne Smalls that were going to step up in this second half, and Eddie now with 2 goals in this third term, 7 inside 50s to 1. They're the ones that are getting it done at ground level.
Well, how's the work rate from Bella Eddie? She was the one that gave the handball to Shearlaw. That kick was the kick from Shearlaw. She followed that, got to the feet and pushed forward and kicked the goal. That is elite work rate from a small forward, and you feel like that is who's going to sort of take ascendancy in this game, the smalls at either end.
Started her season with 2 goals in week 1 against the Lions, has kicked 2 in the third quarter of the qualifying final, Bella Eddie. And look at Chelsea Randall. I think they'll almost take the free kick, the Crows, given the spirit and punch she's providing. Alice O'Loughlin, a quiet night thus far. Garner is free. Couldn't mark. To the groans of the North Melbourne supporters who've had so much trust in player 25 throughout her career.
And to the surprise of all of us and you, Nige, I couldn't believe it either that Jazz Garner was free. Maybe she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Was bracing for contact that never came.
I think it was already on the stats computer. Riddell inside 50, Wall punches it down. Powers away from Allen to the goal square, the bounce, and a hand on it from Bedell.
Last line of defence there by Bedell, very impressive, but it is that duo in the midfield that are getting very busy. 43 disposals now between Jazz Garner and Ash Riddell.
The third quarter befitting of the Melbourne skyline. Levy back onto the ground. O'Shea, a cannon between her and Wright. Turning into traffic was Birch. What a job it's been from Libby Birch. An MCL injury on the 22nd of July. Incredible to think 109 days later she's here, having played all 12 games of North season. Garner went without it, but will now get what she wants. Searches for O'Loughlin, who went to the turf. Riddell quickly takes, receives and kicks. Sheila protecting the drop zone. Sarah Allen at the back. Looks for Custerman, who carves through Bruton. Off to Mueller. Went with the right, then thought about the left and found it. Charlton, impeded by Bresnahan. Deepest option is Birch versus Gould, but it won't get anywhere near that contest as Amy Smith has the intercept.
We talked about the inefficiency of the Adelaide Crows in that second term. They had the 11 inside 50s, but just the one goal to show for it. North have had 9 in this term. They've already kicked 2 goals.
Craven marks in front of Custerman. Short on the 45 for Tripodi. He's got Amy Smith as an option. O'Shea wraps around the back. Tripodi takes ground. Randall got a lift. Charlton. Push from O'Loughlin that you could see from the moon.
Adelaide appealing for a 50. I think O'Loughlin just popped the ball on the ground, which probably should be 50. You have to give it back to the player.
Charlton back for Tonnen. And who would have thought how things have changed in 20 minutes of play?
Certainly has. I mean, 11 inside 50s to 1 North Melbourne's way in this third term, and now it's Adelaide that's just trying to take some sting out of it.
We had the exact same stat line in reverse in the second quarter as Garner finds Riddell. Sheila low down, not the mark. It comes free for Smith. Wall on the bounce. Marinoff had a quiet term like so many of her teammates. Now Bresnahan, North have just compressed all the way towards Royal Parade. Tasmanian heads for Sheila. Prowse over the top. Gat is in line to Rove. Prowse out for Tonnen. Luckily not to concede one out on the full.
That's where Ebony Marinoff now up to 21 disposals, but one of the knocks on her game, or probably the only knock on her game, is her kicking efficiency when she bangs it on the left. She's running at 17% by foot, so they really need her to have some more meaningful, damaging disposal.
Randall tapped it to her opposing ruck in the end. In comes Smith, cannoning in Prowse. Wall wriggles out. O'Loughlin kick smothered by the important hands of Sarah Allen. Marinoff again under pressure, but this time finds a jumper in Chelsea Randall. And the Crows maybe can rebound. Tarlins and Marks. Quite the fiery introduction to AFLW for Lily Tarlinton. Rare to play in a loss when you're a Crows debutant. And game 2 is a final. Gould to ground. Birch. Ferguson sees it to the line. Is there a positional move up Matthew Clark's sleeve?
I don't think it's time to really pull that lever just yet. I know they had the game on their terms in that second term, so they're only 4 points behind in this game, and they've had no time in their forward half yet. So if they can get a little bit more time with the footy, it's almost the complete opposite of what we were saying about North Melbourne in the second term. It's just flipped on his head this game. So if they're just able to get a bit more time with possession, and then just take their foot on the pedal a little bit more.
Dangerous tackle against Jess Allen to Tripodi. Had Bresnahan on the horizontal, instead goes the other way to Smith at her 10 o'clock.
The positional change I'd be making, though, if I was North Melbourne, would be getting Bella Eddy back on the field. Since she kicked that second goal of the term, she's been sitting on the bench. I know it's rotations and you want them to be at certain times, but when a player like that, especially as small, is hot, you want them on the ground.
Adele marks, and we've had play largely trapped on the outer side, which isn't conducive to the rotations, as we know, and there is a number of the Roos waiting, watching to get back into it. Meanwhile, Taylor Levy can mark with the city skyline as her backdrop. Off the inside of the right, Bruton, it was a tricky one to trap, but trap she did. Mia King to Emma, who had more time, but it doesn't matter because North have a plethora of numbers free. O'Loughlin, and this has been a better part of their arsenal in this quarter. Short to go long. Riddell for Shearlaw. Maybe had claims on a free. Wall claims Bedell and the ball. And Sarah, there's some players desperately wanting to get back into the fray.
I mean, this is one of the issues with IKON Park, isn't it? The massive wings. I've got a few North players who are just crying to get back on the ground, one being Bella Eddy. She's finally caught her breath after those 2 goals. She's known as the coach's pet down at Arden Street, and she's certainly endeared herself in this term.
Riddell, Shearlaw, Randall, it came to her. She'll have to go after Mueller and pick her up. So there you can see Bella Eddy approaching 8 minutes off the ground. O'Loughlin, meanwhile, got it to Mia King, who at least shows some intent. So margin was 5 at halftime in favour of the Crows. It's now 4 in favour of the minor premiers. Smith to the right. Outstanding! North getting it done from some unlikely sources. Amy Smith kicks her first goal of the year, the 3rd in her AFLW tenure, and the Kangaroos are out to a game-high 10-point buffer.
This is sheer weight of numbers now for North Melbourne, 14-1 inside 50s, but I love that from Smith. Just wheeled, took grasp, but the composure on the finish was sensational, and didn't her teammates absolutely love it?
So Amy Smith, one of a number of Roos who were quiet in the first half, kicks her first goal of the season, her 3rd of her AFLW career, and suddenly questions asked of the Crows, who dominated this game in the second quarter. But clearly we were concerned at the time, and it's very much 2020 hindsight, but that one goal for the quarter off +10 inside 50s might be a period of football they rue. Not if Chelsea Randall couldn't have anything to do with it. Meets her match though in Mia King.
She's a tackling machine in there, Mia King, and just shows again that she's worth her weight in gold with what she allows the other midfielders to do in and around clearance when she can lay tackles like that on Chelsea Randall.
Well said, Kate. Second only to Ebony Marinoff for tackles this season, Mia King, but 19 and a half touches a game to go with it.
And we see Kate Shearlaw getting the ball here. Obviously unfamiliar territory, but she's been thrown behind the ball just to try and shore things up heading into 3/4 time.
Jess Allen came free in the tackle. Rennie and Emma King both on the ground at the same time.
So they're really clogging this up now. North Melbourne only 2 or 3 forwards ahead of the ball, just trying to make sure that Adelaide cannot score late in this term.
Jazz Garner, who set the tone early in the 3rd. Game high 9 possessions and 246 metres gained in the quarter for Jazz Garner. Almost a quarter of North Melbourne's nearly 1,000 metres of territory. Riddell rolled in the Stevie Lee Thompson tackle that finds its way to Bresnahan. Can the Crows find one against the grain? Chance kick touched, as you can hear. Ponta, creative for Marinoff. Intervening and throwing it out was Neve Kelly. Rennie with clever hands for Gat, who was composed. And Mueller knocks it away from Eddie, who finally got her chance to get back onto the ground. 2 goals in the quarter for Bella Eddie. 10 for her season, the 22-year-old from the Sandringham Dragons. Has been the game breaker the Roos have been looking for. Forward of the ball. Jess Allen to the defensive side. Newman against Eddie. Charlton rolled over by Bruton. Jess Allen against Rennie. Thompson will take it to the ground. There'll be comfort though in this for the Crows. They did trail North by 20 points at three-quarter time a fortnight ago, and certainly made a game of it down the stretch. Riddell's kick into attack. Bedell, free, not anymore. O'Loughlin with a picture-perfect tackle. "30-second signs up on the bench. North need a mark. Through the hands of King. Garner against Marinoff. What a matchup that is. A back heel from Garner. And North will get one last look in the third quarter. 3 goals, 3 to 1 straight goal. 2 to Eddie, a goal to Amy Smith. Chelsea Randall, the only major for the Crows in the third. O'Loughlin. Tonnen fighting for it. Plenty of spirit amongst the minor premiers who answered the challenge and answered the call in the third quarter. 3 goals to 1, and North Melbourne head to the huddle, a quarter away perhaps from a preliminary final berth. Plenty still left in this one based on recent history between the Kangaroos and the Crows. It's North by 10 points in the first qualifying final.
When you've got to...
All right, there we go, folks. Three-quarter time. We'll be back with the commentators in just a moment. That's more like the North Melbourne we know of. There we go. They were the ones this time that were, well, they put their arm around Adelaide and said, no thanks, we're not going to let you get down to the forward line and do much damage to us. It's going to be us doing it to you. And, of course, that is exactly what happened in that term, with North Melbourne putting on 3 goals, 3 in the third term, and, of course, Adelaide just the 1 goal. As I said, this time it spent most of the forward 50, forward of centre for North Melbourne. They did really good. They must have had a good chat to the coach at quarter time. They must have redirected their plan, got back to some of the basics, and this is a little bit more than North Melbourne that we've been accustomed to see throughout the season so far. Let's go and have a little bit of a look at the disposal getters now on the ground. Of course, Ash Riddle there for North Melbourne. She just continues to, well, pile up the disposal count there, up to 26 now. 14 kicks, 12 handballs, 2 marks, 5 tackles. Ebony Marinoff right on her heels though with 24. Jasmine Garner also having a good game there for North Melbourne. Chelsea Randall up to 18 for the Crows. But I tell you what, this game is far from over, folks. I think, what is it, 10 points? Well, let me just go and check. 10 points of difference there, three-quarter time. Anything could happen. I'll tell you what, the way it's been going, it could quite possibly live down Adelaide's forward half for the final quarter here. In the first qualifying final here of the AFLW competition. It's going to be a cracker. I tell you what, folks, we have got some great games coming up over the weekend. The games I suggest that you don't want to miss out on. Let me just tell you about who's going to be playing in the other finals coming up this weekend. And of course, tomorrow evening, that's right, that's Saturday evening, 7 o'clock Melbourne time, we've got the Dockers taking on Essendon in the elimination final. And of course, on Sunday, a couple of big games there. Have a look at this. Talk about North Melbourne Adelaide being a big game tonight. What about this game? Hawthorn taking on the Brisbane Lions. The second qualifying final. That should be an absolute ripper and one not to miss out of. But that all kicks off at about 1 p.m. Sunday, Melbourne time. And then following that, straight after that game, we have Port Adelaide taking on the might of the Richmond Football Club. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a ripper of a finals, first finals week so far. So we've got Dockers. Dockers and Essendon tomorrow, followed by Sunday Hawthorn Brisbane, then followed by Port Adelaide and Richmond. They're going to be the games that is coming up. So don't go too far. We're going to be back to the bounce of the ball in just a moment when the commentators come back. And we're going to see who's win. I don't know. Who do you think is going to win, folks? Put your tip in. Put your tip in. So far, we've got 62% of the vote saying North Melbourne will win this game, and of course 38% saying Adelaide. But, you know, this game is far from over. Make no mistake, this game is far from over. I can't pick the winner. I can't pick the winner, but you would think North Melbourne, just with their just with the class edge and their superiority, I think they're going to be the team to beat come this final term. And for this game in the first qualifying final, but as I said before, it lived in Adelaide's forward 50 the second quarter. It lived in North Melbourne's forward 50 the third quarter pretty much. Who's it going to be in this time? Anyway, that's enough for me. Let's get back down to the ground. Let's get back to the commentators, and they're going to take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter. It's North Melbourne by 10 points.
Forward, controlled possession and drew that defender out, which opened space up in their forward line. 14 marks uncontested in that third quarter. In the first half alone, it was 14. So they've totally revamped their game and got really good looks inside their forward 50 on the back of it.
And it looks like they adjusted that throughout the course of the quarter as well, because there was a couple of moments where they got marks in the middle of the ground through Jazz Garner and just played on and took the game on. But eventually they slowed it down, was able to get a bit of composure and consistency with the ball moving forward. And like you said, the goals through Eddie, and then Smith at the end then. I mean, it was a big quarter for North Melbourne. 15
insides to 2 in that third term for the Kangas. After 1 for them in the second term, Adelaide had 11. So total flip of the game. We'll see what Adelaide do in this last term. I reckon they've got the breeze too. The ponytails are going that way.
Yes, they are. See what they do in this final term. We will see you when the final siren has blown and one of these teams is through to a prelim. Let's get to the last quarter.
Can she be perhaps the player who sparks the Crows, who need to respond after leading this game and dominating it, to be frank, in the second quarter?
Doc Clark identified Jazzy Garner there, and rightly so, between Ash Riddell and Jazz Garner. 50 disposals, 26 contested possessions, 15 clearances between them so far this evening.
Garner with 9 in that third quarter as Marinoff, her kick smothered by Riddell. A hand in from Eddie was crucial, as was the composure of Riddell to share it wide for Craven. Knee into the back, Prowse on Randall. Wall, Summons, and well into the back of perhaps an injured Sarah Goodwin.
So the changes in that third term that were made by North Melbourne, they got their uncontested possession game going. They were plus 13 in that area, plus 7 in the clearances, and plus 13 in inside 50. So when you allow them to get the clearance, then beat you on the spread, they can control the game.
They really did flip the script, didn't they, from what we saw in that first half?
Sarah Wright's been able to become more of a factor for North behind the ball in the second half. To Garner, who's permanently set to factor. Casually holding the ball on a couple of fingers, waiting for something. Wedges it off the fist of Prowse. Mueller, Kelly with 2 roos to deal with off the side of the boot. And the whistle was coming, it was just a matter of how long. So Jenna Bruton has it. Stevie Lee Thompson stands the mark and is ready to run wide as soon as she's allowed. Bruton to the square, Crows with the numbers. in the air and on the ground. Bedell to Sarah Allen. The blast out. It's Shannon with the fist in on Randall. Kelly runs around it. And then Bruton, got the tackle. Mia King closed down. Munyard somehow got a kick out. Mia King back to Gat, off a step. Wide ball, towed by Marinoff for Charlton. Jess Allen. Eddie looked to be into her back. Crows will get away nonetheless. Thompson to Munyard. Rennie slides across to take the mark.
Chelsea Randall is just working up and down the field. She was in the right position there, but just a little bit of a skill error that went to Rennie's advantage, which meant she couldn't have a play on that footy.
North ruck tandem working well. Marinoff. Goodwin tried to stand. That's enough, you'd think.
Adelaide just overusing the handball in that situation. They need to try and take territory in this fourth quarter. They've got a 10-point deficit. They need to spend more time in their forward half.
Garner heads for Shearlaw. Marinoff's the crummer. She's got pressure to deal with. Got away from Tripodi. Hatchard taken down. Somehow got a kick out. Mia King's kick also smothered. Shearlaw. Bedell gives away a big free kick in the context of the preliminary final.
Well, Bedell did wrap arms around, but I think it was pretty clever from Kate Shearlaw to make sure that they stayed wrapped around a little bit longer and that she went to ground. So got the free kick. Been a good goal kicker all year for North Melbourne. Can she just put them a little bit further in front early in this fourth term?
Their leading goal kicker this season with 16-7. Squares up the goals to behind ratio at 2-1. Matthew Clark calling for a few changes to try and find a way. North with the first 4 inside 50s of the last quarter.
Usually the change they make at this stage would be Bedell going forward. So she's usually the player that they swing forward if they need another look. But at the moment, it wouldn't matter who they had forward because they're not getting the ball over halfway.
Mueller forced to just kick to grass, and mainly Ruse.
And it's because of kicks like that. So North is set up so well behind the ball that they need to work the ball up with uncontested possessions. So they need to work for each other and present a lead, get an easy kick and then just march the ball up. You have this tendency to want to get it over halfway as quick as you can, but that's not the answer when the team is set up like this.
Emma King in dialogue with Alice O'Loughlin on the bench. Ash Riddell having a spell. Garner up to her usual tricks to Vicky Wall, whose best would get the trip. Not sure if she'll have it in her fourth quarter legs, but probably aided by a little bit of breeze to the legend stand end. You hear the contact. Certainly the distance wasn't an issue for Wall. So the margin is a clean 2 kicks. Caitlin Gould up the ground into the play, an option for the Crows.
Well, at least up to be a marking target. That's what they need, a relieving mark.
They attack, and here is Gould. Jess Allen trying to spread in front of her. Instead, she heads right to Randall. The Crows are out the back of the Roos. They might go around them to get through them. Munyard. Right. Basketball bounce. Here comes Ponta. Got it in the fingertips. Birch wants to get her to the line and has what she's after.
Munyard just really needed to show a lot more composure on that instance. Chelsea Randall, it was a beautiful touch kick. She took a clean chest mark, but she wheeled and went straight away when there was absolutely no Crows deeper. So she just needed to hold up and allow her forwards to get set forward of the ball.
And they'd worked so hard to get it from end to end, their first inside 50 of the quarter.
Goodwin will get the mark. O'Loughlin's got to get back on the mark. Garner in the right spot, has the mark on that occasion, despite Randall's best efforts late. Garner casual as always. Finds Bresnahan. North are a chance to be out. Ferguson, though, has Charlton coming at her. Got it back from Bresnahan, who threw the head back in disgust at how that piece of play unfolded.
Well, who would be upset would be Tess Craven. Tess was out for a good 20, 30 seconds on the far side and she just couldn't get a kick to her.
Charlton centrally. Jess Allen planted the feet. Levy, Gould, Hatchard, Randall can give it off to Kelly, who must kick this and doesn't.
That's all right. That was a better build-up by Adelaide. Unfortunately, Kelly just couldn't make it count in front of goals, but Adelaide now have an opportunity to try and lock the footy inside their forward half and get some repeat entries.
Neve Kelly, just her second miss of the season. Former Eagle. As Goodwin bought time in a Levy Shepherd, but kicks to a bunch of roos. Gould comes in. Garner can claim her. Caitlin Gould had 5 of Adelaide's 16 marks in the first half. It's been quiet for her since, just the one mark, that coming in that sequence of play up the ground about 2 minutes ago.
So can the Adelaide Smalls get busy here? We saw what they did in the third term North Smalls, because there's double teams on every tall player inside forward 50. So what can they do at the feet of their talls?
High praise indeed for the deeds and talents of Jasmine Garner, who will again be prominent on AFLW Best and Fairest tonight. You'd imagine Bella Eddy to Craven, who might have conned the umpire into that being 15 metres. Wall is out and could sense Prowse coming, volleyballed it up, wins the free kick. It was clever on several fronts from the Irishwoman. There's been a welcome return to North Melbourne's team this season. Made quite the splash in her debut season in season 7. Again loads up. Emma King to ground for Amy Smith. North's goal kickers in the third quarter are on the scene. Eddie for a third. Bedell got hands to it. Randall on the line. Desperate play from Bedell. Might have kept the qualifying final alive for the Crows.
Well, she kept it alive a little longer than she should have not. She should have rushed that. That needed to go through. She did everything right, got back as the last line of defence and saved a goal, but unfortunately kept it in and kept North Melbourne's sort of hopes alive to get that one through. But luckily enough, she got back on it and cleaned up her own mess.
It's a good second effort.
Newman to Hatchard. Randall, Bresnahan, reverse for Riddell, who kicks despite the pressure. Hatchard got over the top of right, had the supreme recovery, slides as she kicks it, slides to the hands of Munyard, who had the handball target of Randall but goes deeper. Ponta outpoints Shannon, and North are getting back quickly. Randall, was she taken out of it? She was, by Ferguson. Chelsea Bedell has got herself forward as you predicted, Kate. It might be the best option here for Randall as we see the build-up to that free kick.
No eyes on the footy there. Clear free kick.
A lot of roos guarding grass rather than Crows. Chelsea Randall, 1 on the night already.
I know she's probably feeling it. She's having a great game, but that needed to go to the top of the square. That can't be an out of bounds on the full. You need to keep the possession, keep them under pressure. We've seen North make mistakes tonight under pressure, so she's had a fantastic game, but that one needed a little bit more composure and to go to the top of the square.
North aren't going to find themselves a clean exit just yet. Smith to Bruton, flying through Talia Randall. Wall had to pick it up. There's plenty of Crows there. Marinoff wins a big ground ball. Goodwin couldn't take it though. Mia King, O'Loughlin, back to Bruton. Tumbles forward for Talia Randall. Nothing inside forward 50 until now. King kicks deep. Kelly first back. Should have the wheels on Smith, but there's 3 roos who arrive. Craven forces the pressure on the Kelly kick. Tess Craven and her fellow roos will not get a stat for that, but they might be the ones who set up a Vicky Wall goal.
Kelly had 3 different options there. If she wheeled on the left, she had one out wide, and she turned in right, had a couple of options, and Wall was the one that was dead set in the middle of both of them. So it was unfortunate there, and once again, Kate was just speaking about Adelaide's composure or lack of in the second half, but We'll just take another look at it here. Could have gone that way, opted to come back on the right and just didn't have the vision to lift the eyes and see those short targets for Adelaide.
Goals in her last 4 games for Vicky Wall on her return from tilt at the Olympics with the Irish Sevens team. Miss with a 3-score game.
And at least if you are Kelly and you're wheeling around, you want to try and get the footy out of that really dangerous central corridor. You want to keep the ball wide in that instance.
Sarah Allen brings it in. Gould, the 7th grab of the night.
Did well there, Gould. Was moved early.
Runner almost in the vicinity there as Munyard against Sheila, and that's a good win from Sheila, who's going to clearly be outsized or outpointed at least with the ball on the ground, but got a hand in and saw it out. And North perhaps already pulling the one behind the ball.
Yeah, Kate Shearlaw taking up that position behind the footy with just over 4 minutes to go.
So 4 behinds to 1 in the final term so far. Lee went without it. Mia King and Marinoff.
They have equalised and followed her down, but it's Hannah Munyard that's playing on Sheila. So you think if it's an aerial ball, it's still going to be to Sheila's advantage.
Emma King to Riddell, to O'Loughlin. Wall. Tonnen will be happy to see that out, given the sheer speed that Vicky Wall possesses. So 9 inside 50s to 5 in the quarter for the Roos. We've dominated clearances, possessions in the last quarter, largely equal. Could be 1 goal away, North. Thompson over the outstretched Garner. Marinoff claimed. Pops out for Mia King. Got away from Jess Allen. Gatt claimed and lifted in a Charlton tackle.
Well, this is it, Adelaide. They need to get it. They need to go quickly. It's win the game mode here. Get it, go corridor, play on at all costs. 3 minutes to go. They're down by 13 points.
Got the right structure forward of the ball if they can win it out, as Charlton tackled by O'Loughlin. Gould, Bedell, Chelsea Randall, Ponta, the 4 deepest forwards for the Crows, but it's closer to North's goal. Rennie wrapped around, Marinoff the clearance. Smith, O'Shea left it for her, Bresnahan smothered. Here's the moment for Adelaide. Kelly to Munyard, via Ponta. Randall works to the front on Ferguson and doesn't need to rush. The goal's the most important thing. And Randall kicks it, her 2nd of the night. And once again, it's going to go down to the wire between North Melbourne and the Crows. 3, 1 and 8 the margins in their last 3 encounters across the last 54 weeks. There's some fun to come in the next 124 seconds, you feel.
Well, that clearance win from Ebony Marinoff was just their 2nd clearance that they've won for the term, and it couldn't have come at a better time, Abby.
Absolutely, and that was a beautiful passage of play by Adelaide. Danielle Ponta, the touch on the kick, out in front of Chelsea Randall, who's putting together some kind of game. 22 disposals now, 14 contested possessions, 2 goals, but the ex-skipper recognised there isn't much time left on the clock and went back and slotted it quickly.
Randall's kicked both of the Crows' goals in the second half. Mia King goes after her own kick and has a trio of Crows collapse. Jess Allen and Rennie punch forward. Secondary one from Allen. Garner to Riddell. They're the names you want to hear if you're a North supporter. Bruton on the spread. Waits for the bounce. Wall has had a big last quarter, but took on Sarah Allen. And the Crows have got to go, go, go in 90 seconds.
Exactly what Doc Clark was saying.
Pointing like the Statue of Liberty. Newman leaves it for Goodwin. Charlton. It's got to be perpetual motion from Adelaide. Mueller on her left, away from the Sheilor hands. Heading for Bedell. Desperate fist from Ferguson. Bedell again. Foot from Birch. It's a lie for Hatchard. Birch kicks it out. Where are the Crows? It's Bedell. Some tired Roos. Eddie amongst them. Mueller. O'Loughlin, it looked perhaps high. It's not.
That kick from Mueller just needed to go long and deep inside 50. Instead, she went wide on that occasion.
Crows have got to be perfect from here. Riddell, as she's done so often, stands up when required for the Roos. Tackles Newman. 32 possessions on the night. Off to Ferguson. Prowse. A missed slap from Rennie. Mueller runs in to the very, very well-named wall. So the Crows will have to dust themselves off, and if they're going to get to another grand final, it's going to be the long way. But North Melbourne, the minor premiers, without a loss since last year's grand final, are going to be one game away again. New season, same Roos. The Kangaroos by 7 points in the qualifying final. So join in the chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the roll. Good old North Melbourne, the champions you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me. Well, if you're an undefeated team and a minor premier, it's probably the final you want to set up your campaign. They had some serious questions asked of them by a perennial contender in the second quarter tonight. Adelaide led by 5 points at half-time, but North responded as a premiership contender should. They kicked 3-3 to 1 goal in the third quarter. While they don't kick a major in the last, they get what they came for tonight, a 7-point win, and they're into the preliminary final.
This was a very mature win for the North Melbourne Footy Club, and we shouldn't really be surprised given they haven't lost a game all year and they were the minor premiers, but they were definitely tested in that first half. They were dominated in every facet of the game, but to their credit, they didn't concede. They weren't allowing Adelaide to put that scoreboard pressure on, and that set them up to come back and rectify a few things in the second half.
It was a tremendous third term from Bella Eddy. She was amongst the Kangaroos who turned the tide. She's with Sarah Ollie.
Bella Eddy, you're through to a home preliminary final. How good does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds pretty bloody good. I mean, we've worked so hard for this, and what a cracking game. I mean, Adelaide is a great outfit, and we know that, and they really challenged us, like in that second quarter there. Things, were looking really tough, and I'm really proud of the way that we fought back into that one, so super.
I mean, symptomatic of your team, you turned things on in that third term, kicking 2 goals. What changed after that halftime break? Because you guys came out with all the momentum.
I think after halftime, you come in with the coaches, you get all the messages that you need, and I think it really started with the mids. They really stepped up. They got the ball forward for us, which then allows us forwards to go to work. And yeah, I was on the end of a couple, but it's, thanks to the Tools bringing that down for me, so I got them to thank.
You got a week off now? Oh, well, 2 weeks off. How are you going to rest?
Yeah, I think I'll jump in the ice bath, that's for sure, and get ready to go again. So yeah, can't wait.
Congratulations. Thanks, Bella.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Welcome to the AFLW Finals on Fox, brought to you by Medibank for this post-game. North Melbourne by 7 points have booked themselves a home preliminary final over the Adelaide Crows, who will now host either the winner of Fremantle or Essendon. It was a dominant performance apart from that second quarter by the Roos, who have booked themselves into a consecutive preliminary final. It was an incredible performance by the end, wasn't it, Ellie?
Oh, it was. I mean, you said it best there, Loz. In the second half of the game, they just sort of put the foot down, didn't they? They got real dominance through the middle of the ground, some likely or unlikely sort of
midfielders and forwards that got to work in the likes of Eddie and Smith, and who were able to convert in front of goal, and that was huge for North Melbourne in that third term in particular. Well, we can update our road to glory that we looked at pre-game. Of course, the Kangaroos have secured the first spot in those 2 preliminary finals. They've earned themselves the week off as well, whereas Adelaide will have to go home and lick their wounds and host a semi-final next week. Half is a tough spot to be in for them.
Yeah, for the Crows, absolutely. They'll be devastated with that loss. I reckon at half-time they had the game at their mercy. They weren't able to capitalise in that second term, and we'll have a look at some of the numbers shortly on the back of that, the inefficiency for the Crows. But the Kangas should be wrapped. Importantly, I just saw a bit of vision of Emma Carney, the captain of the Kangaroos, who trained a little bit this week trying to get up for this game. Week off. Next game's a prelim, so she's got 2 weeks to sort herself out and get fit for this Kangaroos preliminary final and grand final assault, maybe.
Oh, which is huge for North Melbourne and for Emma Carney. We know that she'll be doing everything she can to be able to get back. She'd love nothing more than to be out there, especially for a preliminary final.
Look at that inside 50 efficiency. Kangaroos 43%, Adelaide 19%. You cannot allow yourself to be that inefficient going forward. We talked about it at half-time after the domination in the second term, but to have that level of inefficiency going inside 450, it's a huge problem for the Adelaide Crows after having the game in the mercy in the first half, as I said, to be able to put those numbers up and destroy their chances effectively in the second half. They'll be ruining those chances.
It was incredibly costly for them. They'll have a lot to assess in the days to come before hosting that semi-final. Let's quickly get back to IKON Park, where we're joined by, she's left us for the song, no less, Ash Riddell. So she's run off into the middle. Bigger fish to fry, of course, than being here with us, just playing a little trick on us there. But the Crows now have to assess, as we said pre-game, Chelsea Bedell said during the week they were relishing the tag of underdogs, but obviously couldn't get it back to their favour.
Well, now it's straight sets territory. This is the thing that happens when you lose the first final and you've got the double chance. The demons of straight sets gone past. They're the ones that can come back and haunt teams. So that's a problem for the Adelaide Crows, I reckon, Ali, because they know now that it's all on the line. There's no second chances from here on in.
Yeah, and to be fair for Adelaide, they don't lose too many games in a row. And I know what Ebony Marinoff and the likes are like. They're so competitive when it comes to it, so they'll definitely bounce back in the next week or so. We'll get to Ash Riddell very, very shortly out there at IKON Park once they've completed song duties. Of course, all very important elements once you've won a qualifying final. But let's take a look at the match highlights from the first qualifying final out there at IKON Park. It got off to a ripping start, didn't it, half for the Roos?
And that was really one of the only times for the night we saw a one-on-one inside forward 50 where a player had space and time to mark the footy. Chelsea Randall had one late. We didn't see enough of Danielle Ponta after that goal. She kicked in the first term. She involved this chain of possession as well. Ended up with a goal for the Crows, but didn't get enough out of her for the game, I reckon, Ellie. And as a result, you're relying on the role players to win you the game, and they just don't have the capacity at times.
Yeah, and it definitely could have been moments where she definitely could have stepped up. And we saw Caitlin Gould get on the scoreboard a couple of times throughout. And this moment here from Zoe Prowse, which, you know, it's a very iffy call there, but it goes back and gives North Melbourne a goal. And with all the dominance they had in that second term for Adelaide, to then only go in and the game be so close and to lose that advantage, it's such a pivotal moment of the game. Definitely hurts them in that second half. But this moment from Chelsea Randall was huge half. I like the game awareness that she had there. It was elite pressure and a great kick to Gould, who goes back and converts his goal.
Yeah, really important at that time for the Crows, and we thought, oh, maybe the Crows are going to cause a bit of an upset here. But the third quarter, they got their run and carry going. They got Bella Eddy involved, 2 goals in that third term. Really did give them a look in that third term to start to get the game back on their terms, which they really didn't have for much of the first half at all. Great goal from Chelsea, gave her all tonight for the Crows. The champ who's been doing it since day one, but in the end it was too much pressure from the Kangaroos, and I love the way they readjusted their system and style at half-time to go to more uncontested mark, drag the spare defender of the Crows out and just create space for their players forward of the ball. This goal was huge. Amy Smith's goal probably in the end was the deal breaker for the Crows, but that was the one that sealed the game for the Kangas. Early to say, obviously, in the third quarter, but that was the moment that broke the game, I reckon.
And it talks about capitalising on your moments as well. There's so many moments and opportunities throughout the course of the game where you can be able to sort of kick goals and capture a moment, and she was able to do it then. Well, let's get out to IKON Park. They're joining in the chorus, well and truly the Roos. Let's get out to the middle as they get Emma Carney in for the song.
Shut up,
Out they came to play, that's for sure. North Melbourne 7-point winners over the Adelaide Crows to book themselves a preliminary final spot and a week off, no less. You mentioned Emma Carney before half. She's missed 5 weeks with that torn hamstring, trained a little bit earlier in the week, but enjoys now that extra week off and an extra week to get up potentially for a prelim. It'll be a pretty handy in.
It would be an extremely handy in, and you know we're all hoping in the footy community that she can get up for that game in a couple of weeks.
Well, let's get back out to IKON Park. Ash Riddell's ready for us now. She's completed the song and all of the scenes that went with it. It's scenes that they know well at the Kangaroos, that winning feeling, and the lyrics have been sung loud and proud all season, Ash, but probably not louder than they were just a couple of moments ago. That one must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was a nice to get there in the end. I think credit to Adelaide, they were absolutely outstanding the whole game. They're a remarkable team and have been for many, many years, so we respect them highly, and it was, nice to grind out a win in the end.
Well, grind it out is probably underselling it, really, Ash. That second half in particular really saw you guys turn things around from a second quarter where they really came at you. You must be really proud of the group's ability to respond, particularly after halftime, to that pressure.
Absolutely, their pressure was outstanding, and ours probably wasn't up to standard up until halftime. Our pressure method was probably breaking down a little bit, but we were able to fine tune that in the second half and bring out the pressure, which resulted in some turnover goals.
Ash, Daniel Harford, well done to you. Congratulations on getting through to that prelim final, which I'm sure you've been chasing for a while. I am keen to find out what Croc said at half-time, because you did absorb the pressure in that second term, but you weren't playing that well in the three-quarter time. In that third quarter, you seemed to own the footy a bit more and get some inside 50 looks on the back of that. Tell us what Croc said.
Yeah, Croc was actually quite positive. He came in and actually said how happy he was with how we defended that second quarter, considering how much of the ball they had, and they only scored 1 goal from it. So considering the game wasn't on our terms whatsoever, and we only conceded a goal in that second quarter, there was so much room for improvement, and I think that was the message, that the game wasn't looking like a North Melbourne game, and if we get it slightly looking like it is, there'll be opportunities to score.
And Ash, obviously coming into this game, you guys are an incredible midfield unit. What's it like running alongside the likes of a Jasmine Garner, and you put Mia King in there as well? I mean, your clearance numbers were up, and that was something that changed throughout that second half. But what's it like with you guys working together in the midfield?
Oh, it's so much fun. And then we've had Ruby Tripodi come into that mix too, and she had an outstanding, particularly that third quarter. She got the ball and made some really, really good decisions. But we knew that Adelaide coming in, they're a high stoppage scoring team. So it was going to be really pivotal that we matched them in the contest. And I think we did that today.
And Ash, the importance of winning this first final now. You've got a 2-week break before your prelim final. What does the next couple of weeks look like for you guys?
Yeah, I guess at least we've had a little bit of experience being there the last couple of years. So we'll just rest and recover over the next couple of days, but get into training. There's plenty to work on that we can learn out of tonight, and see who we play in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, that's the luxury you've got, to be able to sit back and watch all that unfold now. Ash, I am interested though, from an individual perspective, what are you what's driving you at the moment? Is it the last year's grand final loss, or what is the motivation factor for you?
I think it just comes to probably back to why I love playing footy. I love playing footy because I love my teammates. They're my best mates. We'll be mates for life. So I love this footy club, and I think that's the main part driving us all. We want to have the silverware at North Melbourne and think that we're a strong enough team to do it. But I guess proof's in the pudding. We just got to keep ticking along. It's not going to get handed to us, and we've got to have these gritty wins along the way.
Well, Ash, you shared your wedding day with Jazz Garner and Jenna Bruton in your bridal party earlier this year, so congratulations on that front. Fingers crossed the three of you can be celebrating in a couple of weeks' time with a grand final berth. Sit back and relax now for a couple of weeks, rest up, and best of luck in that prelim.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Just another fantastic performance, wasn't it, guys, from Ash Riddell, who, of course, finished in third place in the AFL Coaches Association award today. She's always right up in the League Best and Fairest voting as well, so she'll be in the thick of it at the W Awards in a few weeks' time too. It's just an incredible and formidable force of a midfield to face up against, isn't it, Elle?
Oh, it is, and they're just so consistent. Every opportunity they get as a midfield group to perform, they do it. You know, they're so consistent in their performances every week and every opportunity, and Ash Riddell's no different in the way that she goes about it.
Up forward, though, they're feeding it to the likes of Bella Eddy, who really set the game alight, didn't she, in that second half?
Yeah, she did, and it was her cleanliness and game awareness in these moments there that she was able to capture and take a hold of. And it first came through that pressure on Bedell, and then she stayed involved in the game, the 1-2 handball and the finish here half. That's exceptional work there by Eddy.
Magnificent, wasn't it? Absolutely magnificent, Bella Eddy. It's her 10th goal for the year that she kicks, so she becomes the 5th Kangaroo to hit double digits. So great versatility in their forward line. That was a ripper around the corner as well. She really did ignite the Kangas in that third term, set the game up. She's a beauty. Absolutely. And she's learning off. This is the thing. She's learning off players like Garner. She's learning off players like Riddell that have been there, done that brute, and pros. It's a great formula to bring your kids through with.
You mentioned it before, Ellie, too, the pain of last year's grand final loss. As much as they don't probably want to revisit it, it's really going to fuel them. They know what it's like to lose and they won't want to do it again.
Yeah, that'd be burning them to a certain degree, and that would be in the back of their minds. I don't necessarily think it's their driving force and something that they're currently talking about as a group right now, but it's something that would definitely be playing on their mind and something that, you know, they want to sort of change coming into this final series and obviously trying to win a prelim and get into another grand final.
Let's get back to IKON Park now, where Jess Webster is with Vicky Wall.
Here with Vicky Wall. Vicky, congratulations. You've made it through to a preliminary final. Firstly, on the contest, how tough was it out there for you tonight?
Yeah, it was super tough. Obviously, playing them a few weeks ago, the tensions were high, but first half was fairly congested. Didn't really get to play as much north ball as we wanted to, but second half opened up, and Adelaide are a super team, and obviously they're so physical and so contested, so to get the win, we're delighted.
And obviously you missed last year, spent a year home in Ireland preparing for the Olympics. How great does it feel to be back wearing that Guernsey and trying to push for premiership success with North?
Yeah, it's elite. Obviously last year was tough watching on, and you make decisions yourself, but obviously you want to be part of a team like this. So it's just unreal to be back, and I just think the team we have, we're just taking it week by week, as the cliche goes, but just really enjoying our footy. And I think to come and have beaten Adelaide by small margins 2 weeks in kind of a row, I suppose, is pretty good for us.
How valuable a contest like this? You've been so dominant this year, and you've been such a fantastic team. But to come up against a really hard finals outfit like Adelaide and get the job done, how valuable are these kinds of wins?
Yeah, I think this is kind of shows what AFLW can be, and I think these are the exact games we want every single week. So if we could have 10 or 12 games like this next year, I just think it would bring the competition on more and more, and to be playing teams like Adelaide, it's exactly what we want, and I suppose that's what we train for, is for these type of days.
You had a couple of shots out there as well late in the game too. What happened there? Nearly stuck one home.
Yeah, I know what my IDP will be next week. I'll be straight on the set shot, so I know exactly what I'll be doing. But we got a few points, so I'll take that.
Congratulations! Super exciting to see you in a prelim. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
From the Olympics to a preliminary final, it's not a bad few months for Vicky Wall, part of this North Melbourne outfit that is in to a prelim. We will unpack the remaining 3 finals to play out this weekend after the break. Of course, the W Awards are coming up on November 25. The All-Australian will be named, the Rising Star, and of course, the League Best and Fairest winner. Just who will take it home this time? We'll find out on November 25, right here on Fox.
All right, folks, there we go. It was a gallant North Melbourne holding on to a very good challenger in Adelaide. 5-8-38. North Melbourne winning the qualifying final, the first one, 5-1-31. And, of course, I think Adelaide will next play. I think it is the winner of the Dockers and Essendon, who play tomorrow. 7 p.m. Melbourne time, that game coming up tomorrow. More AFLW football action here tomorrow night. As I said, 7 o'clock Melbourne time, the Fremantle Dockers taking on the Essendon Bombers. Stay tuned for that. North Melbourne, though, well, they're going to have a nice, well-earned rest, aren't they? As I said, they're the team to beat this year. They look really professional, really high-skilled. They've got some talent there. Worry about that. They're definitely the team to beat. yeah, the runners-up from last year, where Brisbane beat them last year in the grand final. Of course, they've gone on to be the minor premiers, finish on top of the ladder in the home and away season, and now to win their first final. They're a happy camp down there at North Melbourne. And we did take a poll in for the live chat on this game, and of course 57%, well, they picked, voted for North Melbourne. Well done everyone in the chat. But that's about all I've got for this game, for this coverage of AFLW football action here in Melbourne. North Melbourne taking on Adelaide, where it was North Melbourne by 7 points over the Crows. Thanks everyone for coming in. Thanks for watching, listening, and of course thanks to everyone in the live chat as we went live here. Mr. Tranquilio and of course Tine Bem Bem, my amazing manager. Thanks for being in the house, guys. But that's me. It's me. That's me. Over and out, folks. All right, guys. Until next time, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game. Take care.